Right. So this is a risk assessment we are going to do and using the iCue method. So in this risk assessment, we have a scenario where, as a manager, you would like to introduce the wearing of cycling helmets when cycling on a site. However, not all cyclists are in agreement. So we are using this scenario, and we will see if we can do a good risk assessment using the iCue method. So the starting point in the iCue method is to first of all understand that this is how it looks on the whiteboard. So you have workspace, you have headspace, and you have group space, which means you have all the physical words on the whiteboard that go on the top two quadrants, all the psychological words in the bottom left quadrant, and the physical and the group space words or the cultural expressions on the bottom right quadrant. What you also see is that there's a positive and negative sign here, which basically means all the positive or the neutral words go on the left-hand side in the physical space, and all the negative words go on the right-hand side in the physical space. For example, harm, injury, non-compliance, deviation from processes, and so on. And in the center, you have one brain, three minds, which is the basis for everything that we do in iCue and in social psychology of risk. Because it's a risk assessment, it's a very good idea to put the place where this is happening, Aberdeen, 26th of November, between 10:45 and 11:30. It's between two people, let's say Nipin Anand and Pedro Ferreira, and you can add more people. And the idea is that as soon as you finish this risk assessment on a whiteboard, you can take a picture of this and you can file it along with your formal paperwork. So you can still continue to use your forms and checklists, even though they don't give you much value. But this is something that will tremendously increase the potential and the engagement level in your meetings, in whether it's a risk assessment or an incident investigation. And you will see that in a few minutes. Okay, so let's get started. So you saw the scenario. The scenario was here. This is the scenario that we are going to use. Now we will move towards the actual risk assessment. So what do we do first? We try to put the right words in the right quadrants, and we link between the words. That's really the first stage. So what is happening here is that there is a site with 4 kilometers of area where they've introduced bikes because it's fast and efficient to do it that way. But then the company realizes that there's a potential for injuries, and they want to mandate the use of helmets. Well, they were talking about it so far, but now they have mandated the use of helmets. The company thought that it was pretty straightforward until they had a discussion with their employees who were very upset. People were upset. So it's obviously a cultural expression. They tried to work out what people were upset about, and they told them that, maybe the helmets might get stolen. So the company proposed the idea that we can build some sort of a storage facility for the helmets. And also there was an expression from somebody that it's a bit inconvenient, right? So that's typically, this is how we start a discussion in a risk assessment. The next thing is for us to understand, where are the trade-offs in this discussion? Where are people facing conflicts? Where are people facing choices, right? So obviously you want to make this operation fast and efficient, but on the other hand, there is a potential for injuries, right? So there's a trade-off here. You can continue it this way, or you can start to face injuries as a result, head injuries, for example. So and hence the need for mandating the helmets. The other trade-off you see is between pushing the use of helmet as a compliance, and the other one is people being upset about it. So obviously there's a trade-off here. You can go either directions, or you can come in some sort of a compromise. So it's again a beautiful example of what a trade-off is all about. Now, what we do in the iCue as a next step is to chase the gift. Where are the gifts in this conversation? And by that I mean, What is it that comes as a surprise in a conversation? What is it that you were given that you did not ask for? Which is basically what a gift is all about. You give a gift to somebody because they were not, and it's almost something that people don't expect. It comes at an unexpected. So what are the unexpected things that come up in a conversation, right? So chasing the gift. Now there are three things here. One is mandating the use of helmet, which is a pretty strong word, mandating. The other one is it's inconvenient, somebody said, and then people being upset. So these are words that are offered as gifts to you. And in iCue conversation, what we do is we chase the gift, we follow the gift, we try to understand what that gift, what is it that people are trying to tell us. So when we chase the gift, we ask the question, for example, what is the basis for mandating the helmet, right? Have you done any sort of research on this? Because the byproduct, as we call, of mandating the helmet says that you might end up in a situation where people become overconfident. And that's research shows that people become overconfident, and then you might start to face more accident as a result of people being overconfident. So have you thought about that? The byproduct of using a helmet. The reason for using a double arrow is that it goes in both directions, and that is a trade-off or a byproduct. I will come to trade-offs in a minute. The other thing that you see is the trade-off between the chasing the gift is when somebody says inconvenient, you say, what inconvenience? You try to chase the gift. And they say, somebody said, well, this could be violation of human rights. You're pushing something on us which we don't want. And you start to think, wow, I never thought about it that way. That's interesting. That comes in the cultural space. So it's not just inconvenience per se, but something boiling underneath, right? And then people being upset, you ask the question, what are they upset about? And you suddenly start to build so much information. You get so many perspectives on this. Some people have religious concerns because, they're wearing maybe turbans and they're wearing scarves and they don't like it. They don't want to be pushed into wearing helmets. Some people are thinking this is going totally out of control. Some are saying you cannot force this on us. Some are even saying this is bullying. Wow, this is interesting. Some are threatening to walk out from the work and complain to the union. So you can see how opening up these things suddenly opens up a box of Pandora, or a box of worms, as some people would call metaphorically. So chasing the gift is an important part in a conversation. The next thing you see is, what is the mood of this conversation? And as you can very quickly see, most of this conversation is negative. It's deficient. People are upset. People are frustrated, and you're trying to give a positive solution to this. But the trouble is that people are frustrated in this space. They're not too worried about the storage facilities, which you think could be a solution. The problem is here. The problem is here. They need to have a conversation, right? So you can already see how the whiteboard is pushing you to go down, because that's where the conversation, the value of the conversation lies. That's where people make most of their decisions, right? Now, we can go into temperament, listening, and culture, which is the advanced form of iCue. I'm not going to go into that. But what is the outcome of this risk assessment? Well, the outcome of this risk assessment is that you cannot solve the problem in this space. It's not only counterproductive, it's a waste of time to spend too much time here. And typically what you see in boardroom meetings and risk assessments is that we get so hung up in the idea of mandating the helmets that this is a compliance issue and it must be followed, and we are not really even contemplating issues in this space. And these issues are bubbling up. People are upset, and they are upset mainly because nobody has spoken to them. And we are busy offering solutions like storage space and becoming upset or thinking about potential for injuries. In a way, we are trying to help them. We are trying to make them safe. But the trouble is that it's actually making the things even worse. So you can see that many of our problems don't lie in the workspace. They are in the headspace and the group space. And the idea is that of this exercise is that nobody is telling you that you should or should not mandate the helmets. That's entirely up to you. The idea is that after this exercise, you have actually exercised due diligence. You have demonstrated that a discussion has happened in Aberdeen on the 26th of November between so and so people, and we came to the conclusion that we are going one way or the other. Right? This is the power of iCue. That tomorrow when some things go wrong, either because of or despite of or without the use of helmets, you have a strong basis to support your decision making. That we had a decision, we had a discussion, and a decision was made. See, the thing is, what we don't quite realize in the risk and safety world is that nobody is expecting that accidents won't happen. Nobody is expecting zero harm. What is often expected from us is, have we got a clear process of decision making? Have we made decision making transparent? Has the discussion taken place? And making that decision making process democratic, which, as you can see here, it is through consultation, and transparent, is the key to success. The key to what we call risk management. So you can see the potential for having a discussion like this, that a consultation has taken place and we have exercised due diligence to the best of our capacity. And that's risk management. Now, for those of you who have been on this exercise with us, we'll also see that we use magnets to push conversations down, coasters, small little coasters, and I will show that to you in a minute. And the idea is that if the conversation is not going beyond this space, we start to push people to think along those lines. So, for example, if you're only getting conversation in this place, what you can put here is a coaster between is a prompt between a headspace and a group's, sorry, a workspace and a headspace conversation. That, of course, we can see that you're mandating the use of helmet, but I would like you to contemplate issues in the headspace. So you are pushing the conversation down. You're deliberately pushing the conversation in this place. Similarly, what can research tell us about the psychological space? What sort of psychological issues might come up as a result of pushing or mandating the helmets? Again, you're pushing people to think in this area. Mandating the helmet, what sort of cultural issues might come out? As you can see, people are being upset. So this is a group behavior. This is a cultural issue that has resulted as a result of mandating the use of helmet. Similarly, here you can see that where somebody sees it as an inconvenience, but it's not really inconvenience. This is a cultural issue where people believe that this is a violation of human rights, pushing people to do something that they don't quite buy into. Similarly here, you're busy giving people solutions in workspace. They're telling you about theft and you're trying to propose the solution as a storage facility for helmets. But the problem lies somewhere else. So for those of you who have been on this journey, will very quickly realize that a lot of issues are actually in the headspace and the group space. And these icons are a reminder, a very quick reminder to anyone looking into this conversation, where the problem and where the solution to the problem lies. So that was it from my side. My name is Nipin, and I hope you enjoyed this iCue session. If you have questions, if you have comments, you can always reach out to me at nipin.anand@novellus.solutions. You can visit our website, novellus.solutions. We do taster sessions every 2 weeks. You're more than welcome to come to one of those non-obligatory sessions. It's free of cost, and you can see how we work. You can also come to our coaching sessions, which start in the middle of January or towards the end of January. All the information is available on our website, novellus.solutions/events. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this session. And as always, if you don't agree with something, please come back to me. I'll do my very best to explain or even have a dialogue with you to see what I can learn from those differences. Thank you very much.